what this brand means and how important it is and how high the standards are here. And that's what's exciting. Circumstances are completely different, and so are the expectations. But like I said, when the expectations are high, it means you're doing something well, so it's a good thing.
So the Atlanta Braves officially hired their longtime bench coach, Walt Weiss, to be the next manager of a team who is built for success. First, Grant, let's start with your thoughts around the hire.
Well, I think that this should not be the most surprising hire for the Braves. Now, there were a lot of different camps and a lot of different ways you could look at it about what do the Braves need in this job. And I think ultimately they looked at it and they said, we like consistency, and we feel like Walt Weiss can provide that. I think he's a relationship person, much as Brian Snitker is. But does this mean that he's a carbon copy, a clone of Brian Snitker? No, I think he's a very different person, different personality. Yes, he managed and didn't have success in Colorado. Not many guys have. But I think you heard him say there that this is a very different circumstance, and he's had 8 years to learn what it means to be involved in this organization on the coaching level. And I think that he has built the relationships, and they're building a nice staff around him to go out and get back to the business of winning. Those expectations are there. He knows that that is a big part of his job and that you've got to kind of put up or shut up there. But I feel like this is a hire that, as we get to know Walt Weiss in this role, we might just be pleasantly surprised about what he brings to the field every single day.
And all of the players love him so much. Yeah. And I think that probably played a lot into Alex Anthopoulos' conversations with him is, how are you going to relate to these players? He's like, what do you mean? I've done this forever, which I think is a huge positive in that regard. Gabe, was there any level of surprise for you when Walt was officially named the manager?
Yeah, just because of the timing of it all, right? And I think, and we've talked about this, but if Walt had been named manager not long after Snit had transitioned into his advisory role, nobody would have been surprised. It's the fact that it took a month, and then people are going, well, wait, and obviously there was Danny Lehman with the Dodgers was speculated as a candidate. There were different people speculated. It was kind of assumed, and Walt even said this. He's like, I wasn't sure because the process was dragging out.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was fair. Anyone who assumed it was going to be an external hire, I think that was fair. So from that standpoint, I suppose, ultimately, no. Look, there's something to be, I know some people roll their eyes at this Braves way thing, at the continuity thing. They've had a ton of success. And I understand people want younger energy, somebody different. But this has worked here, right?
No doubt.
And you know, you're continuing something, and to Grant's point, the staff that they're filling, it looks like a home run of a staff. I mean, Hefner's very highly regarded. These guys that they're bringing in, I think people are going to be pleasantly surprised, and I completely agree. He's not a carbon copy of Snit, and I think that anyone saying that, it's a tad lazy. I would just say look into it.
Yeah, I think one thing that you mentioned here that's important is a lot of people wanted young energy. They get that in the staff that they're building around Walt Weiss. Talk about the staff, Grant, and what's impressive so far about what they're building around him.
Well, it's very interesting that they were able to pluck a few key pieces away from a division rival in the New York Mets. You got Jeremy Hefner, who's about to turn 40 in March. I think he's the youngest of the coaches they brought over, but everybody's basically in their, low 40s. Antoine Richardson was a very good base coach and a base running coach that they're bringing over to replace Tom Goodwin. They're bringing in Tony Mansolino, who has a coaching success with the Orioles and a managerial success as well. We'll see what the bench coach thing ends up being, and even bringing over was it JP Martinez from the Giants, who was their pitching coach last year. They're just bringing in a lot of great, I think, baseball minds to kind of create a factory of the more talent you have in that realm. I think the more you're able to bring players along and create the support that they need to be successful in their jobs. So that's what a great coaching staff does, long story short. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. And I think they put a good one around Brian Snitker. And now we've just got to see if this club can go out and, number one, be healthy, and then as a result of that, be productive to do the things that, to go back to that word, the expectations lay out for the Atlanta Braves every single year.
As we all know, health has been one of the big points of emphasis for this team, who has early exits from the postseason. And it's not because they're a bad ball club. It's literally because there have been untimely injuries throughout the season. So that's going to be a big key to it. And I think the staff looks fantastic so far.